I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Watching that fight last night, neither styles could really work the other one out. Do you know what I mean? They both had their moments during the fighting between, during the rounds, etc. But I wouldn't really say Bivol's style came out on top or Artur Beterbiev style came up on top. Even though obviously Artur Beterbiev won the fight. Do you know what I mean? He's now the new undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. We're gonna get into the fight. Yeah, we're really gonna get into the fight in a sec. But I just also wanna shout out the production. Like, talk about like really sparing no cost. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the Saudis went all out. Do you know what I mean? Riyadh season, they always deliver some epic fights, and in terms when it comes to production and entertainment, they really, you know what I mean? They spend the money. Do you know what I mean? And that production last night, like before you had the fight, the actual main event start, you had these Siberian style theme type of like trailer for the fight where Bivol and Artur Beterbiev went at it. Do you know what I mean? It's like this, like in the snow. It was just epic. It was just epic. It looked like it must have cost at least £5 million. You know what I mean? To shoot that. Because that was like proper like Hollywood, do you know what I mean? Type of movie situations there. Like big up the production, man. Listen, you can say whatever you want about the Saudis and Riyadh season, Turkey like Sheikh, and you can whatever. People have their own different opinions on it, but when it comes to putting on entertainment, putting on the great fights, and the whole package, production and everything like that, they're probably the best. Do you know what I mean? No one's done it quite like them in boxing. Me myself, I've never seen anything like it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of just the budget that they spend on the whole production overall is crazy. You're looking at crazy money here. Do you know what I mean? And you can't get that in the UK. You can't get that in the US. They're not gonna spend that type of money on production alone. Do you know what I mean? 8 million on production alone is not happening. But also, what was I gonna say? Yeah, you had Sierra in there, Sierra performing. You had Missy Elliott. You had Busta Rhymes. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There's been other Rhea season events where I didn't like some of the artists, but listen, having Busta Rhymes out there, Missy Elliott, dropping some of her biggest hits, I really enjoyed it. Sierra was there, like I said, man, real entertainment before the fight. And I'm one of those guys that when I'm watching a boxing fight, I just want to get to the fight. Like I really don't care about all the other, side missions that they do, all the advertisements, whatever promotions. I'm not really into that. I just want to listen. Let's get down to it. Let the fighters come out, walk out the ring, whatever. Bell rings. Let's get to fighting, man. You know what I mean? Let them hands go, and that's what I'm about. But I'm not gonna lie. Last night, I didn't mind the entertainment. I really didn't mind that entertainment. I really enjoyed it. I sat down, I was watching it, and it was great, great, fantastic entertainment. You know what I mean? It's great value, for the audience, whoever's watching. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, big up to the Saudi, big up Riyadh season, Turkey Al Sheikh and all them guys, man, doing fantastic, fantastic work in boxing. And they are one of the reasons why we're seeing these type of fights. Do you know what I mean? Bivol and Beterbiev, these two guys, yeah, they're not really superstars outside of the ring. Do you know what I mean? They're not big names like Joshua, Fury, or even like a Usyk or Canelo. They're not big names outside of boxing. You know what I mean? A lot of the casuals don't really know about them. Now, obviously, the boxing fans, the purists, obviously they know about these guys. They know that these guys are, the best in their sport right now. Do you know what I mean? So I know them, a lot of us know them, but in terms of that global appeal, Beterbiev and Bivol, they're quiet guys, man. They're just guys that just, really keep a low key. They just go about their business in silence. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they've been doing for the last 10 years. They're savages, but outside the ring, really humble guys, and they just, want to live their life. They don't really care about all the other promotion, the showbiz, do you know what I mean? What everything that comes with boxing, the glamour, etc. They're not really into that. Do you know what I mean? They're very quiet guys and they just crack on with it. And me personally, I like that. I like that. I also like fighters who are entertaining outside the ring. I like a bit of that as well. As long as there's a balance, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? It's when some athletes, some fighters go overboard and start doing extra stuff. That's when I switch off. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm like, yo, this is a bit too much. You know what I mean? Like Conor McGregor. Sometimes I feel like he does way too much. Do you know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. He's boxing, he's entertainment. People have to sell tickets or pay-per-view. So I understand it. I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? Whatever your hustle, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever, makes money for you, it is whatever, man. I'm not judging anyone. But anyway, listen, let's get to the fight. Now today, I know I'm rambling on a bit, but I really want to take my time talking about these fights. So this ain't gonna be one of those 5-8 minute videos. Like I might go a bit further because I feel like this whole fight, like, these two champions, these two light heavyweight champions from Russia, they deserve that. They deserve us to really break it down, analyze the fight, show that the two fighters the respect that they deserve. Even though Bivol lost our fight, but listen, man, he's still class, in it. He's still elite. Before the fight started, Bivol's team actually came out to the ring and measured the ring. His team actually measured the whole ring, making sure that it's the exact correct diameters, width, etc. Look at, like, can you imagine that? Have you ever seen any other fighter's team do that? Actually go out in a ring and measure the ring, make sure it's accurate? That's crazy, like. It just shows you the level that these guys are operating at, that every single inch counts. Bivol's team wanted to make sure that Beterbiev was getting no advantage, and that is crazy when you actually think about it. Fighters are world class. Yeah, these are masters of their art. Any slight mistake, like it could be game over. Like if you throw a lazy jab or you feint wrong listen, mate, it could make a big difference. It could really make a big difference. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I really thought like whoever imposes their style on the other guy wins. But what happened in this fight is, to my surprise, both styles kind of like canceled each other out. In my opinion, when I was watching the fight, both styles canceled each other out. Now, Bivol, yeah, normally he's always on a move in it. And in this fight, I have to commend him because his movement was excellent. One thing Bivol did great in this fight was every time Beterbiev got close, he let his hands go. He let his hands go and he didn't stay in one position long enough for Beterbiev to let his to do his work. And he was kind of saying to Beterbiev, listen, if you're gonna come forward and think you can trap me, I'm gonna let my hands go, and then you're gonna have to respect me. And I feel like to some aspect he did earn Beterbiev's respect, because Beterbiev, sometimes he was a little bit hesitant to throw the punches as well, because he could see what was coming back from Bivol. And Bivol, like, he meant game. He was on point in this fight. Like, Beterbiev came on strong later down the rounds, like, and we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna talk about that. But if we're looking at the first 4 rounds, Bivol, like, his performance was almost perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought the first 2 rounds they might be trying to figure each other out, but Bivol actually first, second, and third round, like, he did really well. Like, he was popping the jab, he was letting little combinations, not too many punches, because obviously what you don't want to do with Beterbiev, who has so much power on that right hand, you don't want to get caught in between punches. So when you're letting your combinations go, that's when you're actually most in danger. You do not want to get caught by that right hand from Beterbiev in between exchanges, and all of a sudden you're on the back foot, and do you know what I mean? And you're holding on, which what happened later down the rounds with Bivol. I was watching the fight on Sky Sports, and the Sky Sports, team, whatever, they had Bivol 4 rounds to nil at that point. He had 4 rounds. He had 4 rounds on Beterbiev, and I didn't really agree with them. I think a lot of the commentary there as well, some of the scoring cards was a bit biased, because the way I was watching the fight, and also I was talking to some of my friends, my mates on WhatsApp, and we was texting each other, going back and forth, and Some of them had Bivol up 4 rounds. But I was saying to them, listen, as we're watching this fight, because some of the rounds were really close. Let's be real. Even though Bivol was stealing a lot of the rounds because he looked the more active fighters when it comes to letting his hands go. He was letting more shots go. But I was telling my friends, I was saying to them that, listen, it depends on what the judges want to see. Some judges, they don't mind seeing a fighter being on the back foot, but also being busy, letting shots go. Even though you're on the back foot, you're still letting shots go. Some judges don't mind that, and they'll score that for you. However, there are judges who actually like the fighter who's putting on the pressure, who's walking you down. So if you're constantly on the back foot, to some judges, you're losing the fight because you're running away from that engagement. If you know what I mean. It looks like Beterbiev is coming forward. He wants to engage, but because you're constantly backing off, it looks like you don't want to engage. So some judges might score that for Beterbiev. And that's what I was telling some of my friends when I was talking to them on WhatsApp. I was saying that, listen, yes, Bivol's letting them shots go, but Beterbiev, that constant pressure that he was putting and walking Bivol down, to some judges admire that. Now, that's, everyone has their own opinion, when it comes to judging, how do you actually judge a fight? If a guy's on the back foot by letting shots go and scoring, do you give it to them or do you give it to the guy who actually looks like who wants to engage, who's coming forward, who's putting that constant pressure? Do you score it on them? So me, it's something in between, innit? I like, it depends, innit? The fight is on the back foot by they're really letting their hands go and they're touching the guy up and that. Listen, I'll score it for them. But also at the same time, I like the guys that put the pressure on. I like the guys that come forward and want to bang and want to engage at all times. I like that. As long as he's calculated pressure, is measured, I'll score it to the guy who looks like who's the aggressor. Do you know what I mean? But then judges, we see by the scorecard, some judge had it, 16-12 for Beterbiev. And it shows, in it? It must, them earlier rounds, one of them judges, well, two of them judges gave obviously 3-4 rounds somewhere to Beterbiev, and it must have been because of that constant pressure. Was he a fight that, that excited everyone? Was it a fight that are they gonna get fight of the year? Hell no. They're not gonna get fight of the year. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like the most entertaining fight. Like for the casuals, do you know what I mean? Like if you tell them, oh, let me pay for that fight again, they probably wouldn't. But for the purists, for the people that love boxing, they love the science of boxing. Come on, man, this was a classic fight. World level, world class elite fight between two chess masters. It was that type of fight. It was, listen, any little detail, any little mistake, the opponent will capitalize on it. And we saw it. If Beterbiev was too slow when he was closing down, when he was cutting off the ring, if he was too slow, Bivol let shots go. If Bivol got trapped in the corners and Beterbiev caught him, Beterbiev will let his shots go. Like it was back and forth when it comes to those type of scenarios. Do you know what I mean? Both fighters were in the elements, during the rounds where someone will have the upper hand and then, Bivol will come back, Beterbiev will give a little right and then, will go to the body more and then Bivol kind of back off and look like he's out of it. Then with 10 seconds left in the round, he'll let, a 5, 6, 7 punch combination go, and all of a sudden it looks like Bivol won that round. So it was, when it came to scoring, it was really hard. It was tough to score. Some people had Bivol, some people had Beterbiev. Me myself watching that fight, I was like, yo, this is so hard to score right now. It's really hard. It's really hard. And it was a tough scoring. But the fight itself was all about just two fighters who just complement each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there was almost too much respect shown between the both guys. Like, it was like one of those where they're both in unknown territory and they don't really want to make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if these two guys were to rematch, I think they'll go a lot harder. Beterbiev will go harder, Bivol will go harder. Because obviously now they've been in a ring with each other, they share the ring. They're like, okay, you know what? I know what you're about now. I know what you're about now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like where Bivol went wrong, yeah, this is what I want to say, where Bivol went wrong, because we know Beterbiev won the fight. He's now the new lightweight, light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed, the new king. First time it's been done for over 20 years. The last undisputed king was Roy Jones Jr. Bivol, he was up on a lot of people's cards. Yeah. I'm not, including myself, I had Bivol at least 2 rounds up. I had Bivol 2 rounds up. Going into the 11th and 12th rounds, I had Bivol 2 rounds up. And I was thinking to myself, I'm thinking, yo, Beterbiev has to knock this guy down or score a knockdown. He has to do something dramatic. You know, he has to do something that's eye-catching. Do you know what I mean? That will make the judges really question themselves and how they're scoring this fight. Now, the last 2 rounds, Beterbiev really put the pressure on Bivol. He really applied that pressure. He really came out. He came out swinging. Bivol was on his bike the whole time. And this is where I think Bivol lost the fight. I think if Bivol like traded more and he didn't back off as much, I think he could have won one of those rounds and that could have swung the fight his way. I really think he was that close. But the last 2 rounds, Bivol just backed off. Beterbiev was walking him down, constant pressure, letting jabs go, right hands over the top, the little uppercuts. It was just the last 2 rounds, 11 and the 12, like I said, it was all Beterbiev. He won those rounds without a shadow of a doubt. That might have been what won him that fight. Because a lot of people, I was looking, while I'm watching the fight, I'm looking online commentary, I'm watching Sky Sports, you know, I'm talking to friends on the phone and everything. Most people had Bivol up 2 or even 3, 4 rounds, but it was close though. No one was really confident, but a lot of people did have Bivol up. Yeah, but this is what I say, like, when it comes to this elite level, like, 2 world-class fighters, I just feel like Bivol made a big mistake. I don't know if he was tired or he felt the pressure. To be honest with you, I don't blame him, because the amount of pressure, the calculated pressure that Beterbiev put on him in the early rounds, it probably took its toll on Bivol in the last 2 rounds, because Bivol looked like he was tired. Do you know what I mean? He was tired. Even though he boxed flawless. He boxed absolutely flawless the whole fight. But the last 2 rounds, man, especially when you go a punch in the lack of Beterbiev, you're gonna feel the pace at some point. Do you know what I mean? And Bivol was marked up. Do you know what I mean? So it looked like, to us, the viewers, when some of them punches that Beterbiev throws, it looks like he's just doing this. Like, it doesn't really look like much. But if you're in the receiving end of it, like, it must take its toll eventually. And the round 11 and 12, it looked like Bivol just couldn't hack it no more. He really couldn't hack it no more. So I feel like that's where Bivol lost the fight overall. He lost the fight on the 11th round and 12th round. Now, I don't agree. Some of the judging, like 16-12 for Beterbiev, I kind of don't agree with that. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know where they're really seeing that. For me, when I was scoring the fight, for me, it was a draw. I think a draw would have been a fair result, because I just feel like both fighters just mashed each other the whole way, man. And if Bivol won, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be mad either. I wouldn't really say, oh yeah, nah. I wouldn't have no complaints if Bivol won. But Beterbiev won. I don't know, man. I think Bivol lost that fight in the 11th and 12th round, but I still think it was a draw, to be honest. I'll be real. I feel like that fight was a draw, like the 16-12 scorecard. I wouldn't say it's a robbery. I think that would be a bit over the top, because I'm hearing some people say, oh, robbery. You know, I think Eddie Hearn came out and said something about it's a robbery. I've just heard. I think that's just outrageous. It's not a robbery. The fight was close, you know, and it could have went either way. But seriously, for me personally, I feel like that was a draw. I really feel that was a draw. I think a draw for the level, the fight of that magnitude, the level that both guys are operating in, the respect I have for both fighters. To be honest, I never wanted these two to fight, even though they had to, because I didn't want any of them to lose. But I still feel like that was a draw, and I feel like they're gonna have to run it back at some point. Obviously, Beterbiev, he's now what, 39 years old. He turns 40 in a couple of months. Would he want to go back in there with a 32-year-old who now knows more about him? And I have no doubt that one day Bivol will be undisputed. It's just whether, he'll get the opportunity to get revenge on Beterbiev. It depends what Beterbiev wants to do. I heard rumors that Beterbiev, he wants to go up to, cruiserweight, whatever. So we'll see if he does that at 40 years old. Maybe he feels comfortable just going up in weight. He doesn't want to be, cutting weight again. It might be taking his toll on his body at this point, especially when you're getting older. You're not the same. Do you know what I mean? Some things that you do, you just can't do no more. So we still have to wait and see. But me personally, I want to see that rematch. I would love to see that rematch, because me as a purist, someone that just loves boxing, I found that fight so fascinating, so entertaining. I know a lot of people probably didn't. I know a lot of people probably disagree with me. But as I was watching that fight, I'm just saying, wow, just beautiful boxing, just two masters at it. Do you know what I mean? Two guys who have perfected their craft. Do you know what I mean? Don't forget, both guys were unbeaten, man. These guys, none of them have ever suffered a loss in their careers. And for Bivol now, what is he? He's now lost his first ever fight. We're gonna see how that kind of affects him. But you know what? Looking at Bivol, the interview that he gave after the fight, he's so humble, so gracious, even in defeat. He said, "Look, congrats to Beterbiev. Well done. He deserves it." And that's the type of sportsmanship that we want to see. And just looking at just assessing his attitude and looking at the way he he goes about his business. You know what I mean? His behavior and stuff like that. Listen, I'm 100% sure that Bivol will be back stronger. And, I have no doubts that Bivol will be undisputed champ, in the light heavyweight division one day. Do you know what I mean? He definitely will, because he's got this. I don't see no one else beating him. I don't know. Maybe you guys and girls watching at home, maybe you got some names, throw it at me, leave it in the comments. Let me know who you think can beat Bivol in the light heavyweight division at the moment. But for me, Beterbiev, Bivol, these are the clear, they're clear of everybody else. They're levels above everyone else, not just in the light heavyweight division. Like pound for pound, these guys are they're up there, man. Crazy, man. Two of the best light heavyweight champions of all time. The reason why that fight wasn't as entertaining, like, whoa, he's so, like, oh, ooh, like, he didn't really have moments where you go, ooh, oh my God, you're off your seat and all that nonsense. Because both guys are elite, man. When two elite fighters meet each other, they got so much respect for each other's, like, skill set. They're not going to do anything crazy. They don't want to give the next guy the advantage, because they know any little tiny mistake, you get punished. So both guys wasn't taking that chance to get punished. But I feel like in a rematch, because they both now have a taste of what it's like, they've been there, they know the feel. Bivol now knows the power. Beterbiev knows all about the movement and the jab of Bivol. So the rematch, they might go more all out. Now, who wins the rematch? That's another tight affair, man. I'm not sure. I might sit on the fence on it again. Do you know what I mean? Because, like I said, I like both boxers, man. They're probably two of my favorite boxers of all. They're there now. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not my top five, but they're banging on that door, man. Because the level of performances these guys put in this era of boxing, crazy. Yeah, man, I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've spent enough time talking about these fights. Yeah, man, if you think I missed anything out or any other points that you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments, man. Let me know in the comments. I'll definitely probably do more videos on these fights as well, because I think it deserves it, innit? But definitely people saying that it's a robbery and everything like that. Nah, it's not a robbery. It's not a robbery. Listen, these fights can go either way. I've seen robberies in the past in boxing. This wasn't a robbery. Like I said, it could have gone either way. If he went for Bivol, I'll be here saying, Bivol kind of deserved it, to be honest with you. He did really well. Beterbiev won. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it should be a draw, but Beterbiev won. He did what he had to do. I feel like Beterbiev finished the strongest, especially round 11 and 12. That really carried the fight for him. I think that, that's where he really pulled it out. If Biv would just hang on in there and he traded and, he did well in one of those rounds, 11 or 12, I think it could have been a draw. I'll be back again really, really soon with another video. I'm going to talk about some of the other matches and some of the other clashes that also happened in Riyadh. We saw Fraser Clark and go with Fabio Wardley. That was a crazy fight as well, man. Absolute crazy, epic. I'm gonna actually drop another video on that, and also I'm gonna drop another video on Chris Eubank, his comeback after a 12-month layoff. He won by TKO. I'm gonna cover that video as well. So stay tuned, man. Stay tuned. Come back to the channel. More videos dropping really soon. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. You're really gonna help the channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo. Until the next one, peace.